Narrator Veil. Have you ever had that gut feeling, the one that tells you something's wrong, but you just can't put your finger on it? That's how I felt when I first met Emily, my son's girlfriend. At first, I thought I was overthinking it. Maybe I was just being a protective mom, trying to hold on to my son as he started this new chapter of his life. But then, things started to get weird. Cut to a family dinner setting, Emily sitting across from the narrator, her smile polite but cold. Narrator Veil. When Alex brought Emily home for the first time, she smiled, but it was that kind of smile that never quite reached her eyes. She was polite, way too polite, actually, but there was something about her. It's like she was always putting on a show, never letting her guard down. And the more I watched her, the more I started to wonder, was I just imagining this? Or was Emily actually trying to keep me at a distance? Cut to flashbacks of Emily's behavior at family gatherings, avoiding eye contact, dismissing the narrator's suggestions, answering questions with curt responses. Narrator Veil. Every time she came over, I tried to make small talk. How's work? I'd ask, what's your favorite kind of food? But Emily? She'd answer like she was just checking a box. I couldn't get a real conversation going, no matter how hard I tried. And Alex? Well, he was so wrapped up in her, he didn't notice a thing. He saw the perfect girlfriend, the woman who could do no wrong. He didn't see what I saw, the coldness, the distance. Cut to Alex and Emily walking hand in hand, laughing together, while the narrator stands in the background, looking uneasy. Narrator Veil. It wasn't just the way she treated me. It was how she treated everyone. She was polite to my friends, sure, but it was always in a way that kept them at arm's length. No one could get close to her. And for some reason, I couldn't shake the feeling that she was always trying to be the one in control, even in the most subtle ways. Like when she made decisions about the wedding, Alex didn't even have a say. It was all about what Emily wanted, and if you didn't agree, well, that was your problem, not hers. Cut to a wedding planning meeting where Emily takes charge, ignoring suggestions from the narrator. Narrator Veil. It all came to a head when they got engaged. The wedding planning process should have been a joy for us, a family affair. But instead, it became a battlefield. Emily took charge of everything. The venue, the guest list, the colors. Alex barely had a say in any of it. I tried to voice my opinion once about the seating arrangements, but Emily shot me down with a smile and a soft, I think we've already decided on that. Cut to flashback of the narrator offering an opinion about the wedding but being ignored, with Emily brushing it off with a tight-lipped smile. It was like my voice didn't matter anymore. It was as if I wasn't even part of the equation. Sure, Alex was happy, but I could see what was happening. Emily was slowly, subtly pushing me out of the picture. It wasn't just about the wedding anymore. It was about taking control of Alex's life. And I couldn't let that happen. Cut to the narrator walking alone, deep in thought, reflecting on the situation. Narrator Veil. I spent nights awake, lying in bed, just thinking. It wasn't that I didn't like Emily. It wasn't even that I thought she was a bad person. No, it was that I knew what she was doing. She was taking my place. And worse, she was making Alex believe that I was the one who was out of touch, out of place. That I didn't fit into his new life. And he didn't even know it. Cut to the wedding day. The narrator getting ready in the mirror, adjusting her dress, the camera zooming in on her face filled with concern. Narrator Veil. I knew the wedding day would be hard for me. It was supposed to be a day of celebration, but deep down, I felt like I was losing my son to someone I barely knew. The night before, I had a quiet conversation with Alex. I told him how happy I was for him, how proud I was of the man he'd become. But I couldn't shake the feeling that he didn't need me anymore. Emily had become the center of his world, and I was just a visitor in it. Cut to a quiet moment before the wedding where the narrator speaks with Alex, her voice full of emotion. Narrator Veil. I told him, I just want you to be happy, son. That's all I ever wanted. But he didn't hear the part where I was losing my place in his life. He was too wrapped up in Emily, in their perfect little world. Cut to the wedding ceremony with Alex standing at the altar, beaming with happiness. Narrator Veil. The ceremony was beautiful. Everything went according to plan. Emily walked down the aisle, looking every bit the princess, the perfect bride. And Alex, my son, was glowing. He couldn't take his eyes off her. I watched him standing at the altar, and I couldn't help but feel that pang in my chest. The one that said, "I'm losing him." Cut to the narrator's face during the ceremony, a mixture of pride and sadness. Narrator veil. I tried to smile through it. I really did. I told myself to be happy for them, for the life they were about to build together. But the truth? The truth was I wasn't just losing my son. I was losing the chance to be part of his new world. And that hurt more than I could put into words. Cut to the reception. Laughter fills the air, guests clinking glasses, and Emily and Alex sharing a private moment on the dance floor. Narrator veil. The reception was in full swing. The music louder now, people dancing, drinking, celebrating. And then came the moment I had been dreading, the speeches. It was my turn to speak, and I thought, this is it. This is my chance to say something, to show them I'm still part of this, that I matter. Cut to the narrator standing at the podium, the crowd's attention on her. Narrator veil. I stepped up, took a deep breath, and before I could say anything, Emily stood up, and that's what happened. Cut to Emily standing up, raising her glass, her smile a bit too perfect, a bit too sharp. Emily, smiling, with a hint of sarcasm. I'd like to thank my new mother-in-law for everything she's done, or at least for trying. It's clear she means well, but, well, she's not exactly the best at understanding what Alex and I really need. But we're working on it, right? The room falls silent, the camera focusing on the narrator's face, shocked and hurt. Narrator veil. I froze. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was mocking me, in front of everyone. It wasn't just a joke. It wasn't playful teasing. It was a clear, intentional insult. And the worst part? Alex didn't even notice. He was laughing, nodding along, completely oblivious to what was happening. Cut to the camera zooming in on the narrator's face, a mixture of disbelief and hurt. Narrator veil. In that moment, I realized something. I had been right all along. Emily wasn't just trying to take control. She was trying to erase me, to push me out of my own son's life. And if I didn't do something soon, I would be left in the dust, forgotten. This intro sets up the emotional conflict between the narrator and Emily, and the wedding serves as a pivotal moment that brings everything to the surface. The betrayal and tension are clear, setting the stage for the narrator's eventual revenge. This strong opening hook should keep. I stood there, frozen, my heart pounding in my chest. Emily's words were like daggers, each one sharper than the last. She had done it. She'd humiliated me in front of everyone. The entire room had heard it. The subtle jab, disguised as a joke, the casual dismissal of my role in Alex's life. Cut to the narrator standing in the crowd, eyes wide, watching as Emily and Alex share a private moment. Narrator veil. And the worst part? Alex didn't even seem to notice. He was too busy laughing, too absorbed in Emily's world to see the damage she was doing to mine, to our relationship. Cut to Alex smiling, laughing with friends, unaware of the tension building in the background. Narrator veil. I try to compose myself, to smile, to laugh along with everyone else. But the sting of that moment, Emily's cold, calculated words, it burned like acid. Every time I looked at Alex, my son, the boy I had raised, the boy who was supposed to have my back, I felt a wave of disbelief. Was this really happening? Was he really letting her do this? Cut to a flashback of Alex as a child, the narrator lovingly guiding him through life. The good moments, the moments of closeness. Contrast that with his current demeanor, distant and indifferent to her feelings. Narrator veil. I had spent years raising him, teaching him the value of family, the importance of respect. I had always been there for him, through thick and thin. But now, he barely even looked at me. Not once did he ask if I was okay. Not once did he try to make sure I felt welcome in his new life. Cut to a slow zoom in on the narrator's face, filled with sadness and frustration. Narrator veil. And in that moment, standing there while the world continued to celebrate around me, I realized something. Emily had won. She had completely and utterly taken over Alex's life. She had pushed me out, and I had allowed it to happen. Not anymore. Not if I could help it. Cut to a slow-motion shot of Emily and Alex dancing, the camera focusing on Emily's face, which radiates smug satisfaction. Narrator Veil. As they danced, completely lost in their own little world, I made a promise to myself. I would not let her get away with this. I wouldn't be the invisible mother-in-law, the one who simply fades into the background while Emily and Alex build their perfect little life. No, I was going to do something about this. And Emily? She was going to regret ever crossing me. Cut to the narrator watching from the side, her expression hardening, the wheels in her mind turning. Narrator Veil. I wasn't going to let her win, not like this. I wasn't going to let her walk all over me. She had made the first move. Now it was my turn. Cut to the camera showing the reception winding down, the guests starting to leave. The music is quieter now, the laughter softening. The narrator slips away, unnoticed. Narrator Veil. The night was winding down. The guests were beginning to leave, one by one, but I wasn't ready to go. Not yet. I hadn't made my move, and I knew just what I had to do. Cut to the narrator slipping into the back office of the venue, the door clicking shut behind her. Narrator Veil. It wasn't going to be loud. It wasn't going to be dramatic. I didn't need a scene. What I needed was subtlety. I needed to strike where it hurt the most, without Emily even realizing it until it was too late. Cut to the camera follows the narrator as she approaches the event coordinator, who's busy working at a desk. Narrator Veil. I knew exactly who to talk to. The event coordinator. She had the power to make changes, and I had the right leverage to get her to listen. I walked up to her as calm as I could manage, my heart still pounding, but my mind sharp. Narrator Veil. Excuse me, I said, keeping my voice steady. I need to make a small adjustment to the seating arrangements. Cut to the event coordinator looking up, surprised but polite, as she listens to the narrator. Event coordinator, nodding politely. Of course, ma'am. What would you like me to change? Narrator Veil. I'd like to move Emily's family to the back, I said, my voice controlled. But underneath it, I could feel the satisfaction building. Keep them as far away from the bride and groom as possible. No one needs to be reminded of their presence during such an important moment. Cut to the event coordinator's face, slightly uncertain, but quickly agreeing as the narrator uses her influence to make the change happen. Event coordinator, hesitant but agreeing. Understood. I'll take care of it right away. Narrator Veil. I smiled, a small victory. Emily wouldn't even see it coming. She would think everything was fine, that she had won. But she hadn't. Not by a long shot. Cut to the camera focuses on Emily, laughing and talking to guests, unaware of the changes happening behind the scenes. Narrator Veil. I slipped away from the coordinator, feeling that rush of power. Emily had thought she could control everything, but now she was going to see just how wrong she was. I wasn't done. Not by a long shot. Cut to the narrator walking toward the back of the venue, determined and focused. Narrator Veil. I wasn't finished yet. Emily had humiliated me, and now it was my turn. She was going to regret this. She was going to see just how much damage she'd done, and there would be no turning back. Narrator Veil. The evening was coming to an end. The last of the guests were leaving, the music slowing down. But I still had one final act to play. Emily hadn't seen it yet, but when she did, she would understand what it meant to mess with me. Narrator Veil. I wasn't looking for drama. I wasn't looking to make a spectacle of myself. No, this wasn't about throwing a drink in her face or yelling at her in front of everyone. My plan was much more calculated than that. It was subtle. It was quiet. But it was going to hit her where it hurt most, in the one place she thought she had complete control. Cut to the narrator walking through the dimly lit hallways of the venue, her eyes narrowing as she thinks of Emily's earlier humiliation. Narrator Veil. As I walked away from the coordinator, I couldn't shake the feeling of satisfaction building in me. Emily had thought she could humiliate me, make me feel small in front of everyone. But I wasn't going to let it slide. Not without a price. Cut to The camera zooms in on the narrator's face, her expression hardening with determination. Narrator Veal. Emily had thought she could control Alex's world. She had thought she could push me out and replace me with her perfect little vision of their life. But she was wrong. She didn't know me. She didn't know what I was capable of. And she had made a very dangerous mistake. Cut to, the camera shows the venue, emptying out as guests leave, the music now soft and distant. Narrator Veal. By now, the guests were starting to leave. The atmosphere was winding down, but the night wasn't over for me. I had one more thing to do, one more final act of defiance to complete my revenge. And it would hit Emily in the most unexpected way. Cut to the back office where the wedding gifts are being collected. The camera focuses on the narrator as she walks over to the gift table, her mind focused on the task at hand. Narrator Veal. The wedding gifts were piling up on the table. There were cards, expensive gifts, and well wishes. But one stood out. A card from Sam, one of Alex's old childhood friends. The card had an innocent message, something about love and laughter, a typical wedding sentiment. But I knew something Sam didn't know. This card wasn't meant for Emily. It was meant for someone else. Cut to the narrator picking up the card from the table, her fingers brushing over it before she slips it into her pocket. Narrator Veal. I carefully slid the card out of the envelope, the name Emily written on the front. No one would suspect a thing. I had planned this down to the last detail. No one would even notice the swap until it was too late. Cut to the camera focuses on the narrator, slipping the card into her pocket and walking away from the gift table, her expression cold. Narrator Veal. The next part was simple. I had a card ready, one I had prepared earlier. It wasn't much, just a few words, but it would send a message Emily couldn't ignore. It would make her think. It would make her wonder, make her question her actions. And that was exactly what I needed. Cut to the narrator sitting down at a desk, writing something on the card in neat handwriting. Narrator Veal. I wrote the message quickly, each word carefully chosen. You think you've won, but this is only the beginning. Respect isn't something you can demand, Emily. It's earned. The camera focuses on the narrator's hand as she writes the message, the camera lingering on the words as they're written out. Narrator Veal. It wasn't a threat per se. It was more of a promise. A quiet warning that Emily had crossed a line she didn't even know existed. Cut to the narrator walking back to the gift table, her steps purposeful. Narrator Veal. I slipped the card into the envelope, the one with Emily's name on it. No one would know the difference. No one would even notice. And that's when it would hit her. When she opened that envelope, when she read the words, she would know exactly who she had wronged. She would know that I wasn't just some passive bystander in her perfect little world. Cut to Emily dancing with Alex on the floor, laughing with her friends. The camera zooms in on her face, carefree and unaware of the storm brewing just beneath the surface. Emily wasn't the type to confront anything head-on. She would try to play it cool, like everything was fine. But I wasn't going to let her off the hook that easily. She would have to reckon with what I had done, whether she liked it or not. Cut to the camera showing Emily in the midst of the wedding aftermath, speaking with Alex in their honeymoon suite. Alex looks at Emily with concern, but she brushes it off, not mentioning the card. Narrator Veal. As the day went on, I found myself obsessively checking my phone, waiting for a message, a sign that my little plan had worked. But Emily was playing the game her way, pretending like everything was normal. She hadn't said a word. No calls. No texts. Nothing. I couldn't decide if I was relieved or frustrated, but I didn't let my guard down. Cut to a phone ringing. The narrator picks it up quickly. It's Alex. Narrator Veal. And then, late in the afternoon, my phone rang. I froze. For a second, I thought it was Emily. But no, it was Alex. He was calling me. Alex on the phone, sounding a little off. Mom, hey, I want to talk to you. Emily's acting is kind of strange. I don't know what's going on, but I think something happened last night. She's upset, and I don't know why. Cut to the narrator's face as she listens, pretending to be concerned, but internally feeling a small sense of satisfaction. Narrator Veal. I played it cool. I didn't want Alex to know that I knew exactly what was going on. that I had set this whole thing in motion. But the truth was, the moment he said she's upset, I felt a rush of vindication. Emily was rattled. She was questioning what had happened, and that was exactly what I wanted. Narrator calmly. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Maybe she's just stressed out. You know how these things can be. Weddings, emotions running high. It's normal for her to feel overwhelmed. Cut to Alex sounding uncertain, clearly not convinced by his mother's calm response. Alex on the phone, still worried. I get that, but it's like she's not telling me everything. And I don't know if it's something I said or did. I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong, but she's not talking to me. The camera cuts back to the narrator, her fingers tightly gripping the phone, a slow smile creeping across her face. Narrator Veal. I knew exactly what was going on. Emily wasn't just upset about the wedding. She was shaken, confused, and more importantly, she didn't know how to handle the consequences of her own actions. She had been expecting me to just fade away quietly like I always had. But I wasn't fading. Not anymore. Narrator calmly. Maybe it's just a misunderstanding, honey. Give her some space. You know, after big events, people can get caught up in their emotions. Let her come to you when she's ready. Cut to Alex nodding, still unsure, but taking his mother's advice. Alex on the phone. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. I'll give her space, see if she comes around. The phone call ends, and the camera shows the narrator placing the phone down slowly, her expression a mix of satisfaction and anticipation. Narrator Veal. It wasn't over. Not by a long shot, but I could feel the shift. Emily wasn't in control anymore. For the first time, she was the one who was unsure, the one who had to second-guess everything. And that was exactly what I wanted. Cut to later in the day, Emily is sitting in a quiet room, alone. She pulls out the card from the gift table, the envelope shaking slightly in her hands. She opens it slowly. Narrator Veal. I knew the moment she opened that card, everything would change. She would read the words I had written, and it would hit her. She hadn't just hurt me. She had crossed a line, and now she would have to deal with the consequences. Cut to Emily's face as she reads the card, her expression changing from confusion to realization. Narrator Veal. I imagined her face when she read those words. The words that made her realize I wasn't some helpless bystander. I wasn't just her husband's mother. I was a woman who had been wronged, and I'd taken my power back. Cut to Emily staring at the card for a long moment, her hands shaking as she places it down. Narrator Veal. I knew that feeling, the sting of being exposed, the realization that someone had seen through your perfect little act. Emily had spent the whole day pretending like everything was fine, like nothing had happened. But now, she would have to face the fact that I wasn't going to sit quietly anymore. Cut to the camera showing Emily's reaction, the strain on her face as she realizes what she's done and how much it's cost her. Narrator Veal. I wasn't going to let her destroy everything we'd built. I wasn't going to let her erase me from Alex's life. And as much as she wanted to pretend like she had control, the truth was I had the power now. She had underestimated me, and that was a mistake she was never going to make again. Narrator Veal. The next few days were quiet. Emily avoided me. Alex grew more distant, and I kept to myself. But I could feel the tension thick in the air. I knew it was only a matter of time before Emily would break. And when she did, that was when I'd get the satisfaction I had been waiting for. The satisfaction of knowing that I'd taken back control of my own life. And maybe, just maybe, I'd get Alex back. Narrator Veal. It wasn't about revenge. Not really. It was about respect. About making sure that no one, not even Emily, could walk all over me. It was about showing her that she couldn't control everything, that I was still a force to be reckoned with. Narrator Veal. It's funny how things work out sometimes. The calm before the storm always feels like a trick. You think everything's fine, that you've won, that the game is over. But it's never really over, is it? Not until everything is laid out, until the truth is staring you in the face. Cut to the narrator sitting in her living room, sipping tea, waiting for the inevitable confrontation. The tension in the room is palpable. Narrator Veal. The days that followed felt like I was walking on a tightrope, just waiting for Emily to crack. And sure enough, she did. I knew it wouldn't take long before she'd feel the pressure of what I had done. She couldn't avoid it forever. Not with Alex, so worried. Not with everything slowly unraveling. Cut to Alex pacing around, clearly troubled, as he sits down next to Emily. The camera shows the strained atmosphere between them. Narrator Veal. Alex called me again that afternoon. His voice was tight, as if he was holding something back. But I could hear it. The frustration. The confusion. Alex, on the phone, clearly upset. Mom, something's wrong. Emily's acting distant, and I don't know why. She's been avoiding me, and I feel like she's hiding something. What's going on? Did I miss something? Cut to the narrator, who is pretending to be completely unaware of the situation, playing along with Alex's confusion. Narrator Veal. I could hear the hurt in his voice. It broke my heart, but I couldn't help myself. I had to keep playing this game, keep letting Emily twist in the wind. I had to make sure she felt the full weight of what she'd done. Narrator calmly. I'm not sure, sweetheart. Maybe she just needs some time. Weddings are stressful, and emotions can get the best of people. Just give her some space, okay? She'll come around. I'm sure of it. Cut to Alex looking uncertain, not fully convinced by his mother's calm response. Alex on the phone, hesitantly. Yeah, maybe you're right. I just want to figure out what's going on, you know? Narrator Veal. I didn't say anything more. I just let him hang up, unsure of what he was really feeling. But in my gut, I knew what was coming. Cut to later that evening, the doorbell rings. The narrator opens the door to find Emily standing there, her face a mask of forced politeness. Narrator Veal. And there she was, Emily, standing in my doorway, her jaw clenched, her eyes narrowed. It wasn't just a polite visit. It was a showdown. She had come to get answers, to get me to admit what I had done. Cut to Emily entering, her heels clicking sharply on the floor as she takes a seat across from the narrator. The air is thick with tension. Emily, coldly, but trying to control her anger. I need to talk to you. I know what you did. You think I didn't notice, but I did. The narrator leans back, maintaining a calm, composed demeanor, despite the storm brewing in the room. Narrator Veal. I didn't flinch. I didn't rush to defend myself. I just sat there, waiting for her to say it, waiting for her to confront me. Narrator, smiling slightly. Is that so? What exactly do you think I did, Emily? Cut to Emily, visibly annoyed by the calmness, standing up and walking around the room, clearly agitated. Emily, frustrated, raising her voice slightly. You think I didn't notice? The card. The one you switched at the wedding. The message you sent. It wasn't a joke, was it? You did it on purpose. You did it to get back at me. Cut to the narrator's calm smile growing slightly, the satisfaction building as Emily rants. She stands up and walks over to a window, gazing outside for a moment. Narrator Veal. I had to admit, I was impressed. She was angry, but she wasn't stupid. She had figured it out quickly enough. But I wasn't going to let her think she had the upper hand. Not now. Cut to the narrator turns to face Emily, her voice low but firm. Narrator calmly. You're right. I did it. I switched the card. And you know why? Because I was tired, Emily. Tired of being ignored. Tice, a mix of shock and anger, her fists clenching as the realization sinks in. Emily, angrily. You're unbelievable. You think I was trying to push you out? I'm just trying to build a life with Alex. You should be happy for us, not trying to sabotage it, because you can't accept the fact that things have changed. Cut to the narrator standing up, now facing Emily directly, her eyes sharp with determination. Narrator, firmly. I don't have to accept anything, Emily. I'm his mother, and I've been here long before you ever came along. I have every right to make sure he doesn't lose sight of the things that really matter. And that's not you. Not yet, at least. Cut to Emily, her face flushed with anger, but she can't argue. She knows the truth, even if she won't admit it. Emily, quietly defeated. I never meant to hurt you, but it's hard. You don't understand how hard it is, trying to make this work with Alex. He doesn't even see it. He's so blinded by his love for you, for his family. I thought maybe if I push you aside, just a little, we could finally have our own life. But now I see I made a mistake. Cut to the narrator softening for just a moment, but still holding her ground. Narrator calmly, but with a touch of empathy. I know it's hard. I know it feels like you're losing him. But pushing me away isn't the answer, Emily. You don't have to compete with me. I'm not going anywhere. I just want to be respected. I want my son to understand that he doesn't have to choose between us. Cut to a long pause. Emily looks away, her anger giving way to a sense of defeat. Finally, she speaks, her voice quieter. Emily, sighing, I am sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. Maybe I've been too controlling. Maybe I've been too selfish. I didn't realize what I was doing. Cut to the narrator's expression softens, showing that, while she has won this battle, there's still a sense of understanding. The room is filled with a tense but quiet resolution. Narrator, veil. And in that moment, I realized something. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about setting boundaries. This was about making sure Emily understood her place, but also giving her the space to make her own mistakes and learn from them. Narrator, veil. As she left, her face was tired, her steps slower than before. I knew she was still reeling from everything that had happened, but I also knew she'd learned something. I had no intention of pushing her out of Alex's life, but if she wanted to stay, she was going to have to respect me, respect what I had built with my son. And that was the most important lesson of all. Narrator, veil. Days passed, and the dust began to settle. I had expected Emily to retreat, to go into her shell, to avoid me for a while. But instead, she did something unexpected. She started to reach out. Little things at first, a polite hello, a forced smile at family gatherings. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Cut to the narrator sitting at a table, her phone buzzing with a text from Emily. She picks it up and reads. Text from Emily. I think we need to talk more. I'm sorry for everything. I know I've been difficult. Can we have a conversation soon? The narrator stares at the message, a soft, knowing smile crossing her face as she sets the phone down. Narrator, veil. I read the message and couldn't help but feel a strange sense of peace. She was finally reaching out, finally realizing that I wasn't the enemy, that this wasn't a battle she had to win. Cut to the narrator calling Emily a few hours later. The camera shows her sitting in a quiet park, the phone pressed to her ear as she waits for Emily to pick up. Narrator, veil. I waited, my heart beating slightly faster than usual. I had no idea where this conversation would lead. Would she try to apologize again, or would she still be defensive? Would she really admit to the mistake she had made, or would this be just another attempt to play the victim? Cut to the phone ringing, then Emily's voice on the other end. Emily, tentative but sincere. Hi, it's me. I wanted to thank you for talking the other day. And I don't know where to start. I guess I just wanted to say that I'm sorry for the way I've treated you. Cut to the narrator, listening, nodding as she lets Emily speak. Narrator, veil. There it was. The words I've been waiting for. The words that finally made everything feel like it was worth it. Emily was apologizing. But this time, it wasn't because she was forced into it. She was doing it because she knew she had been wrong. She knew she had messed up, and now she was ready to make amends. Narrator, calmly but with understanding. Emily, I appreciate that. I really do. I know it's been hard, but we need to stop treating each other like we're enemies. I'm not trying to take Alex away from you. I just want us to find a way to respect each other. Cut to Emily, her voice quieter, her sincerity clearer as she responds. Emily softly. I understand now. I was so focused on building this life with Alex that I forgot about the importance of family. I pushed you away, and for that, I'm truly sorry. I see now that it's not about me versus you. It's about all of us finding a way to coexist. Cut to the narrator's face, her expression softening as she listens. Narrator, veil. I had expected this conversation to be uncomfortable. But somehow, hearing Emily's voice, I felt a weight lifting off my chest. There was no more animosity, no more hidden agendas. There were just two women, both of us trying to make things right. Narrator, gently. We're both learning, Emily. This whole thing with Alex, with family. It's not easy, but I think we can make it work as long as we're willing to try. I'm willing to try. Cut to a long pause as both women let the silence sink in. It's a moment of shared understanding. Emily, finally, with a small sigh of relief. I'm glad you're willing. I'll try harder. I promise. I just want to make things work for Alex's sake. And for our sake, too. Cut to the narrator nodding, a small smile appearing on her face. Narrator veal. And just like that, the tension between us began to dissolve. Slowly, surely, we were finding our way back to each other. I didn't know if we would ever be best friends, but at least we were starting to rebuild the foundation of respect that had been shattered. Cut to the following weeks, showing family dinners, holidays, and small gatherings. The narrator and Emily are seen exchanging pleasantries, sitting together at a table, and having conversations without the sharp edge of animosity. Narrator veal. The changes weren't immediate. It wasn't like everything just clicked back into place. But over time, things began to improve. Emily and I had our moments of awkwardness, sure. But we also had moments of real conversation, moments when we both felt heard, respected, and understood. Cut to Alex and the narrator having a quiet conversation. Alex looks at his mother, his expression soft, and he places a hand on her shoulder. Alex, earnestly, Mom, I've noticed a difference. You and Emily, you guys are getting along better, right? I'm really glad to see that. It means a lot to me. Narrator veal. Hearing him say that, knowing that Alex was starting to feel more at ease between both of us, made everything feel worth it. The weeks of tension, the quiet battles, it had all led to this. A family, trying to heal, try to move forward. Cut to Emily sitting at the table with Alex, both of them laughing. The camera pans over to the narrator, who watches them from the other side of the room, a quiet sense of peace settling over her. Narrator veal. In the end, Emily and I never became best friends. We still had our differences, but we didn't need to be best friends. What mattered was that we had both learned something. That family wasn't about competition, about trying to outdo each other. It was about respect, about understanding, about finding a way to live together, even when it's hard. Cut to the narrator watching Emily and Alex, smiling softly as she realizes the full extent of what she's learned. Narrator veal. And Alex? He had his mother. He had his wife. And in time, he would learn that both of us had a place in his life. Not as enemies, not as rivals, but as two women who loved him. And that was enough. Narrator veal. Sometimes, things need to get messy before they can be fixed. Sometimes it takes a confrontation, a little revenge, a lot of patience, and even more understanding. But in the end, it's all worth it. Because family? Family is worth fighting for. Narrator veal. I've spent so much of my life thinking about what it means to be a mother. To be someone who holds the family together, someone who sacrifices everything for the people they love. And for a long time, I thought that was all there was to it. Giving, giving, and giving until you were exhausted, until you felt like you had nothing left. But over the course of the last few weeks, something shifted in me. I realized that love, respect, and family, they weren't just about sacrifice. They were about balance, about finding your own voice and holding on to it, no matter how hard it might seem. Cut to the narrator standing in front of the mirror, her reflection now showing a more confident woman, someone who has learned to stand up for herself. Narrator veal. I look at myself now, and I see someone who's learned something new. I see a woman who doesn't apologize for her place in the world, who isn't afraid to speak up, even if it means standing up to the people she loves most. I've learned that you don't have to lose yourself in the process of loving others. You can still love deeply without losing your sense of who you are. Cut to the narrator walking through her home, each room showing a different memory of Alex's childhood. A family photo on the wall, Alex's old toys in a box, a letter she had written him years ago. Narrator veal. When Alex was a child, he would ask me questions about life, about love, about the world. And I would tell him everything I knew, trying to guide him through the challenges I knew he would face. But I never prepared him for this. I never prepared him for the challenge of finding balance between two women who loved him. And I certainly didn't expect to be one of those women. Cut to a scene of Alex and Emily laughing together in the kitchen, working on dinner, while the narrator watches them from the doorway, her face softening as she takes it all in. Narrator veil. And yet, here we are, two women who were once strangers, now learning to live side by side, sharing a life and a love for the same man. It wasn't easy. It wasn't neat. There were moments of frustration, of anger, of hurt. But there were also moments of healing, of growth, of understanding. And in the end, we found a rhythm that worked for all of us. Cut to the narrator sitting on the porch, watching the sunset as Alex and Emily join her. They sit in silence for a moment, each of them content, the tension between them finally gone. Narrator veil. I never thought I'd get here, you know? Never thought I'd find myself sitting on the porch, watching the sunset, not just with my son, but with Emily too. And yet, here we are. It's not perfect, but it's real. It's ours. And that's enough. Cut to a scene of the narrator and Emily sitting together, having coffee. The conversation is easy, the silence comfortable. Narrator veil. The conversations we have now are different. They're easier. Emily no longer feels like a threat. She's not trying to take anything from me. And I'm not trying to fight her for Alex's love. We both know that there's more than enough room for both of us in his life. And somewhere along the way, we've learned to respect that. Cut to the narrator walking through a garden, her hands brushing against the flowers as she thinks back on everything that's happened. Narrator veil. In the beginning, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to deal with the way Emily made me feel. But I've learned that sometimes the best way to handle these things is to let go. To let go of the anger. To let go of the need for control. And most importantly, to let go of the idea that love has to be a battle. Cut to the camera shows the narrator and Emily hugging each other briefly, a symbolic gesture of their newfound understanding. Narrator veil. I don't need to be the center of Alex's world. I don't need to be the only woman in his life. What I need is respect. What I need is peace. And what I need, what all of us need, is to learn to love each other, not as rivals, but as a family. Cut to a montage of family moments. Alex and Emily cooking together, the narrator watching them with a smile, the three of them at a family dinner, laughing and enjoying each other's company. Narrator veil. It's funny how things change, how life moves forward, even when you feel stuck. I spent so many years feeling like I had to protect Alex, like I had to keep everyone away. But now, I see that family isn't about exclusion. It's about inclusion. It's about accepting each other's flaws and finding a way to make it work. No one's perfect. Not Emily, not me, and definitely not Alex. But together, we've figured out. Cut to a final shot of the family gathered together, smiling and talking. The narrator looks at them, her face full of contentment. Narrator veil. I've learned a lot through all of this. Not just about Emily, but about myself. About what it means to be a mother, a woman, and a part of something bigger than myself. And I'm okay with that. Because in the end, it's not about winning or losing. It's about love. And sometimes, love looks a lot like respect. Narrator veil. So here we are. Not perfect. Not without our struggles. But together. A family. And that's all I've ever wanted. Narrator veil. Sometimes, life forces you into situations you didn't expect. It pushes you to places you never thought you'd go. And when you come out the other side, you realize you've changed in ways you couldn't have imagined. I look back now and I see how much I've learned. Not just about Emily, not just about Alex, but about myself. Cut to the narrator walking through a park, the trees swaying gently in the breeze. It's a quiet, peaceful scene, almost like a reflection of the calm that has settled in her life. Narrator veil. I never thought I'd find myself here. Not just physically, but emotionally. After everything that happened, the tension, the conflict, the quiet moments of peace that followed, I had started to believe that things would never change. But they have. Not just between me and Emily, but within myself. Cut to a scene of Alex sitting at a coffee shop, working on his laptop. The narrator walks in and sits down across from him. They exchange a warm smile before starting a conversation. Narrator Veal. Alex and I are closer now. I think he understands me better. He understands what I've been through, the sacrifices I've made for him. But more than that, he sees me as a woman, not just as mother. He respects me in a way he never did before. And that feels good. Alex, smiling. I've noticed something different about you lately, Mom. You seem lighter, more at peace. It's good to see. The narrator laughs softly, a warm, genuine laugh. Narrator Veal. Lighter. I didn't think I could feel that way again. It was like for so long, I carried the weight of everything on my shoulders. The responsibility of being the only one who could hold everything together. But now I don't feel that weight. It's not gone, but it's different. It's more manageable. Cut to the narrator's face, deep in thought. Her expression reflects a sense of newfound clarity. Narrator Veal. It took a long time for me to get here. For me to realize that I didn't have to carry the world on my shoulders. That I didn't have to be the one who fixed everything, who made everything right. I could trust others. I could trust Alex and even Emily to handle things without me constantly stepping in. Cut to the narrator and Emily having coffee together at a small cafe. Their conversation is light, natural, and filled with small laughs. Narrator Veal. Emily and I, we're in a better place. It's not perfect. We still have our differences. But there's an understanding there now. An understanding that we're both here because we love the same person. We both want the best for Alex. And for the first time, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of her anymore. Emily, smiling, looking at the narrator. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, really. I never understood how much you did for Alex until I saw it myself. You're not just his mother, you're a part of us now. The camera shows the narrator's face, her eyes softening as she listens to Emily's words. Narrator Veal. There it is. The words I never thought I'd hear. Emily acknowledged me, not as a rival, not as someone to compete with, but as an ally, someone who belongs here. I think that's all I've ever wanted. To be seen, to be respected. And finally I was. Cut to the narrator at home, sitting in her study, reflecting on everything that has transpired. She looks at old family photos, some with Alex as a child, others from the wedding. Each image tells a different story. Narrator Veal. I spent so many years feeling like I was being left behind, watching Alex grow up, watching him build a life of his own, and feeling like I was losing him. But the truth is I wasn't losing him. I was just learning to let him grow, let him make his own choices. Cut to a family dinner scene with the narrator, Alex and Emily. They're enjoying the meal, laughter filling the air, the atmosphere warm and relaxed. Narrator Veal. And that's the thing about family. It's always changing. It's always evolving. And just when you think you have it figured out, life throws something new at you. But that doesn't mean you stop trying. You keep going because in the end, it's worth it. Every conversation, every moment of peace, every step toward understanding, it's all worth it. Cut to the narrator walking outside at sunset, the light casting a golden glow over the landscape. Narrator Veal. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. But I do know this. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for whatever comes next. Whether it's more challenges or more triumphs, I'm ready to face it. Because I've learned that I don't have to face it alone. I have a son. I have Emily. And I have myself. Cut to a final scene showing the narrator looking at Alex and Emily, standing together, sharing a laugh, their bond stronger than ever. The camera pans to the narrator's face, a peaceful smile on her lips. Narrator Veal. This journey wasn't just about revenge or about finding a way to get back at Emily. It was about growth. It was about learning to let go of the past and accept that things change. People change, and sometimes that's exactly what we need. Cut to the narrator standing alone, a sense of calm and fulfillment radiating from her as the camera pans out. Narrator Veal. The hardest battles are often the ones we fight within ourselves. But in the end, It's the ones we fight for the people we love that matter most. And now, I finally feel like I'm ready for whatever comes next. Because I know I got what it takes to make it through. Humiliated. And that's the beauty of life, isn't it? You can never predict what's going to happen. But if you face it with strength, with love, and with respect, you can handle whatever comes your way. Humiliated. The journey may be over, but the story continues. And for the first time in a long while, I can't wait to see where it takes me. Humiliated. Time has a funny way of working things out. You think everything is going to stay the same, that the world will remain exactly how it's always been. But as the days turn into weeks and the weeks turn into months, you start to see that change is inevitable. And with that change, you begin to realize that the choices you make, the things you do, they all have consequences. Not just for you, but for the people around you. Cut to the narrator standing at a window, looking out at the city. Her reflection shows a more peaceful, contented version of herself. The hustle and bustle outside contrasts with the calm inside. Humiliated. It's been months since that moment when Emily and I finally sat down and had that difficult conversation. Months since the confrontation, the hurt, and the healing began. And now things feel different. They feel right, in a way I never thought possible. Cut to a family gathering with Alex and Emily sitting at the table. The narrator enters the room, and they all share a quiet, content smile. Humiliated. The family dinners, the simple get-togethers, the moments that used to feel so tense and awkward, they no longer hold that same weight. Now, they're filled with laughter, shared memories, and a sense of belonging. It's like the air is lighter, somehow. The space between us isn't filled with resentment anymore. It's filled with respect. Cut to Emily and Alex cooking together in the kitchen, the scene filled with a warm, light-hearted atmosphere. Humiliated. Emily and Alex? They're better than ever. I can see it now, the way they communicate, the way they support each other. They've found their own rhythm, their own path. And I'm no longer a threat to that. I'm not trying to hold on to Alex like I once did. I've come to realize that he's not mine to keep. He's his own person, and the best thing I can do is support him as he builds his own life. Cut to the narrator sitting at a cafe, observing a couple sitting together, chatting and laughing. A small smile crosses her face as she thinks about how far she's come. Humiliated. I've learned something too, though. It's not just about letting go of Alex. It's about letting go of the idea that I need to control everything. I spent so many years feeling like I had to hold on to him tightly, like I had to be his everything. But now, I see it clearly. It's about giving him space to grow, about letting him make his own choices, even if that means he makes mistakes along the way. Cut to the narrator walking down a quiet street, the camera focusing on her face as she contemplates everything. Humiliated. And Emily? I never thought I'd say this, but I've come to appreciate her. She's not perfect, of course. She's still got her quirks, her own insecurities. But she's trying. She's learning. She's been patient, and that's something I've come to respect. Cut to Emily and the narrator having a quiet conversation on a park bench. There's no tension, no competition, just two people connecting. Emily, smiling, relaxed. You know, I never realized how much you actually did for Alex until I started to see things from your perspective. I always thought you were overbearing, but now I get it. You were just trying to protect him. Narrator, nodding, understanding. We both just want the best for him, don't we? It's not about controlling him. It's about supporting him, even when it's hard. Cut to Alex coming home from work, greeted by both his mother and wife. The family dynamic is peaceful and harmonious. Humiliated. It wasn't always this way. There were times when I felt like Emily and I were never going to see eye to eye, when I thought our differences were too vast to overcome. But as time went on, I began to realize something important. Respect doesn't come easily, but it's built over time. It's not about perfection. It's about the willingness to listen, to grow, and to meet each other halfway. Cut to Alex sitting with the narrator, talking about his future. There's a sense of maturity in his voice, a quiet understanding that he's no longer just the son being protected, but a man making his own decisions. Alex, thoughtful. Mom, I've been thinking a lot about what you said, about how things have changed between you and Emily. I never thought I'd see the day when you two could get along like this. It's good. It's really good. Cut to the narrator smiling softly, a sense of pride in her eyes as she watches Alex. Narrator, veil. I never expected things to turn out like this. When the tension was at its peak, when I felt like I was losing everything, I never imagined that one day I'd be sitting here watching my son thrive, seeing his relationship with Emily flourish, and knowing that I played a role in that. Cut to the narrator standing in front of a family photo on the wall, looking at Alex and Emily, who are holding hands and laughing. Narrator, veil. What I've come to realize is that this was never just about me and Emily. It was never just about proving who was right and who was wrong. It was about creating something that lasted, something real. Because at the end of the day, that's what family is. It's not about perfection. It's about learning to live with each other, flaws and all. Cut to the narrator looking at Alex, her face full of warmth and understanding. She walks over to him, placing a hand on his shoulder. Narrator, veil. It's funny, isn't it? How life takes us on unexpected paths. How the things we never thought we'd survive end up shaping us in the most incredible ways. I thought I was losing my son, but I wasn't. I was just learning to let go, to trust him, and to trust the people he loves. And through all of this, I found something I didn't expect: peace. The long-term effects of everything that happened weren't just about fixing things with Emily or keeping Alex in my life. It was about learning to respect myself, to trust myself, to let go of old fears, and to embrace new beginnings. And in the end, I've realized something truly profound. Family isn't just about being there. It's about understanding each other, giving each other the space to grow, and accepting each other for who we truly are. Cut to the narrator walking alongside Alex and Emily, both of them smiling, the tension from the past finally gone. Narrator, veil. So here we are, still a family, still growing, but stronger than ever. Life has a funny way of testing the progress we think we've made. Just when you think you've got everything figured out, when you finally believe that peace is settled in, something happens. Something you didn't see coming. And suddenly, everything is thrown into chaos again. But this time, I was ready for it. Or at least I thought I was. Cut to the narrator walking into the kitchen one morning, a bright, sunny day that contrasts the tension brewing inside her. Narrator, veil. It started with a phone call. Just an ordinary morning, nothing out of the ordinary. I was sipping my coffee, lost in thought, thinking about the future. The last few months have been quiet, peaceful, and I had begun to think that maybe, just maybe, we were finally out of the woods. But then the phone rang. Cut to the phone ringing on the counter. The narrator picks it up, glancing at the screen. Her face changes as she answers. Narrator, seriously, into the phone. Hello. Voice on the other end, tense. It's Emily. We need to talk. It's about Alex. The camera cuts to the narrator's face, her expression immediately turning concerned. Narrator, veil. Just the sound of her voice, the urgency in it, sent a chill down my spine. What could have happened? Alex was fine, wasn't he? Everything had been going so well, so smoothly. But at that moment, I knew something had shifted. And whatever it wasn't good. Cut to the narrator quickly gets dressed, heading out the door to meet Emily. Narrator, veil. I don't know what it is about certain calls that just freeze you in place. A gut feeling, a sense of dread. That's how I felt as I drove to meet Emily. My mind raced, trying to piece together what could possibly be wrong. But nothing made sense. Everything had been fine. Cut to the scene of the narrator pulling into Emily's driveway. She steps out of the car, her face filled with concern. Emily is waiting outside, looking anxious. Narrator, veil. When I saw her, I could tell something was wrong. Her usual calm demeanor was gone. There was panic in her eyes. For a moment, I wondered if I had misjudged everything. Had I been so focused on rebuilding, on creating peace, that I'd overlooked something I couldn't see? Cut to the two women sitting in the living room, the conversation tense. Emily looks hesitant, unsure how to begin. Emily, shaky, almost apologetic. Alex, he's not himself lately. I've noticed he's been distant, and I don't know how to reach him anymore. I think something's wrong, but he won't talk to me about it. The camera focuses on the narrator's face, a flash of concern crossing her features. Narrator, veal. Alex had always been open with me. We had always talked through things, even when the going got tough. But Emily's words hit me hard. What did she mean, distant? Was it something I had missed? Had I been so caught up in my own issues that I failed to notice that Alex was struggling? Cut to the narrator and Emily in Alex's room, the camera showing Alex sitting on the bed, staring blankly at the wall. His posture is slumped, his eyes vacant. Narrator, veal. When I walked into his room, I was hit by an overwhelming sense of helplessness. Alex was always so full of life, so driven, so himself. But now, he was a shadow of the person he used to be. He didn't even seem to notice us walking in. The narrator sits down next to Alex, her voice soft but filled with concern. Narrator, gently. Alex, honey, what's going on? You haven't been yourself lately. Alex looks up slowly, his eyes tired, and his voice barely above a whisper. Alex, frustrated, distant. I don't know, Mom. I feel stuck. Like nothing's moving forward. I'm not happy. I don't know what I'm doing with my life anymore. It's like everything I thought I wanted, everything I worked for is just slipping away. Cut to the narrator, her heart sinking as she listens to her son's words. Narrator, veal. Hearing him say, that was like a punch to the gut. For months, I'd been so focused on rebuilding everything with Emily, on making sure our family was okay, that I had failed to see the cracks in the foundation of Alex's life. He was hurting, and I hadn't even noticed. Cut to a montage of Alex going through the motions of his day. Waking up, going to work, having dinner with Emily, but with a distant look in his eyes. He's physically present, but emotionally absent. Narrator, veal. Alex's silence spoke louder than anything I'd heard in years. It wasn't just about me and Emily anymore. It wasn't about the battles we'd fought. It was about him, about his future, about the deep, emotional toll this had all taken on him. The tension between Emily and me had cast a long shadow on him, and now he was paying the price. Cut to the narrator talking to Emily again, the two of them standing in the kitchen. Their faces are serious, both understanding the gravity of the situation. Emily, softly, with concern. He doesn't want to talk to me. He won't let me in, and it's breaking my heart. I don't know how to help him. Narrator, nodding, determined. I know, but we need to figure this out together. He's still our son. We have to find a way to get through to him. We can't lose him. Cut to the narrator and Emily looking at each other with renewed resolve. They're no longer two women at odds. They're united in their desire to help Alex, to fix what's broken. Narrator, veal. In that moment, I realized something I hadn't understood before. This wasn't just about fixing what was broken between Emily and me. This was about fixing what had been broken in Alex. It was about finding a way to help him reconnect with himself, to help him find his way back from whatever dark place he had fallen into. Cut to a scene of Alex walking alone in the park, his face heavy with thoughts. The camera lingers on him, showing the isolation he feels. Narrator, veal. I don't know how he got here. I don't know what happened that caused Alex to lose his way. But one thing was clear. We had to be there for him. No more barriers, no more competition. This time was all about him. Narrator, veal. The unexpected turn had come. A new challenge had appeared on the horizon. And once again, the peace we had worked so hard to build was under threat. But this time, I knew that together, Emily and I would face it. Together, we would find a way to bring Alex back to himself. Because family isn't just about the good times. It's about being there when the world feels heavy. It's about lifting each other up, no matter how far down we've fallen. Helping Alex find his way again. This adds depth to the narrative, showing that despite the growth and progress made, life is never static, and new challenges are always on the horizon. And just like that, everything changed. Alex began to open up. Emily and I found common ground, and our family? Well, we're stronger than ever before. But this journey It wasn't just about the challenges we faced, it was about how we rose above them together. Cut to the narrator smiling softly, her face a reflection of the peace that has settled in her heart. Narrator Veal. If you've ever faced a moment like this, a moment where everything seemed to be falling apart, but somehow you found the strength to keep going, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, how did you rise above the challenges in your life? What's your story? The camera zooms out, showing the narrator looking up at the sky, a sense of fulfillment in her eyes. Narrator Veal. If you like this story and it resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more stories like this. I'll be right here, ready to share the next chapter of life with you. The screen fades to the channel's logo, with a gentle reminder to subscribe and engage. Narrator Veal. You never know what the next chapter will bring, but I promise you this. No matter what, we'll face it together. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.